In 1980, the World Health Organization made an announcement that had never been made before in the history of medicine.
They told the world
That a disease was dead.
not in retreat,
Not in decline,
dead. Smallpox.
the disease that killed more than 300 million people in the 20th century alone had been eradicated, wiped from the earth. The first and only time in human history we hunted a virus and won. Or so they said. Before we can understand why the last vials still exist, we have to understand what smallpox actually was. Because if you are watching this right now, you have never experienced a world where smallpox was real. And that is not a small thing. For most of human civilization, for literally thousands of years, smallpox was simply part of life, part of death. Egyptian pharaohs got it. Aztec empires collapsed because of it. In the 18th century, it killed an estimated 400,000 Europeans every single year. Think about that number. Not every decade, every year. The virus, variola, was pitiless. Once you breathed it in, you had no warning for the first week or two. You felt nothing, but you were already a weapon, already contagious. Then came the fever, the aches, the rash that started in the mouth and spread outward to the face, the arms, the legs, the blisters, deep in the skin, not on top of it. Those who survived were often left blind or scarred for life. There were survivors who said they could hear the virus, not literally, but that they could feel it, like something alive under the skin, pressing outward from inside. The mortality rate, depending on the strain, up to 30%. 1 in 3. And then, in 1796, an English physician named Edward Jenner noticed something strange about milkmaids. They didn't get smallpox. They caught cowpox, a mild disease from cattle, and somehow it protected them. Jenner tested his theory on an 8-year-old boy named James Phipps. He scraped cowpox material from a milkmaid's blister and injected it directly into the boy's arm. Then he exposed the boy to smallpox. James didn't get sick. This is Plague Diaries. Every outbreak has a story. Every village, a moment when everything changes. And this one begins with a vaccine that comes from the Latin vacca, meaning cow. A word born from a single desperate experiment on a child who had no idea he was standing at the edge of history. For nearly 200 years after Jenner, smallpox continued to kill. The vaccine worked, but delivering it to billions of people scattered across the developing world was a different problem entirely. Then, in 1967, the World Health Organization launched something unprecedented. They decided to eradicate smallpox completely from the entire planet.
Not control it.
Not manage it.
Kill it.
The strategy was called ring vaccination. You don't vaccinate everyone. You find every single case, every person who has smallpox, and you vaccinate every single person around them. You build a ring of immunity. You contain the fire until it burns itself out. It required surveillance networks in countries with no phones, vaccination campaigns in the middle of civil wars, negotiations with warlords, bribes, desperation. The kind of public health work that never makes history books, but saved more lives than any general or president. And it was working. Then came the last case. His name was Ali Maow Maalin, a hospital cook in Merka, Somalia. In October 1977, he drove a jeep carrying 2 smallpox patients to an isolation camp. The windows were open. He spent just 15 minutes in the jeep.
15 minutes. That was enough.
On October 26, 1977, Ali Maow Maalin developed smallpox. He survived, and he became something no human being had ever been before or has been since. The last person on Earth to catch smallpox in the wild. In 1980, after monitoring, verification, and years of confirmation, the WHO made it official.
Variola major.
Smallpox.
Extinct.
The virus was gone from nature, but not from Earth. Here is where the story changes. Here is where it gets uncomfortable.
When smallpox was declared eradicated,
Laboratories around the world were ordered to do one of 2 things:
destroy their samples.
or send them, all of them, to one of 2 WHO-designated repositories. One in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. One in Kosovo, Russia, at a research institute called Vector. That decision, to keep the virus alive rather than destroy it entirely, has been debated by scientists, ethicists, and governments ever since.
Why keep it at all?
The argument goes like this: to develop treatments, antivirals, better vaccines, you need the real virus. You can't fight a ghost. You need to study the enemy. And if someone, somewhere, is secretly keeping a sample, or if the virus re-emerges through some natural event, some ancient permafrost thaw, you need to already know how to fight it. That is the argument for keeping it. But here is the argument against it. In 1978, while the eradication campaign was still being verified, a medical photographer in Birmingham, England, named Janet Parker, contracted smallpox. She worked in a building directly above a university laboratory that was still handling live variola virus. The virus traveled through ventilation shafts or a phone duct, or some pathway that investigators could never quite prove with certainty. Janet Parker died on September 11th, 1978. She was the last person on Earth to die of smallpox. 2 weeks later, the scientist responsible for the laboratory, Professor Henry Bedson, took his own life. And still, the virus was kept. Because science doesn't run on emotion. It runs on calculation, on probability, on the cold logic that the risk of destroying the only known samples outweighs the risk of keeping them. At least, that is what the calculation says. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, and with it, security. It was later revealed that the USSR had been running a secret program called Bio-Prepare-It, a massive, illegal bioweapons operation that, among other things, had been engineering smallpox. Modified smallpox, made more deadly, made more resistant to vaccines. And when the Soviet Union fell, the scientists who knew how to do this scattered across the world. Some stayed in Russia, some went to other countries, some went to places no Western intelligence service could track. The official position of every government on Earth is that smallpox exists only in those 2 places: Atlanta, Siberia, under WHO inspection, under lock and key. But in 2014, at an FDA storage facility in Bethesda, Maryland, workers were cleaning out a forgotten storage room. They found cardboard boxes, old ones, and inside those boxes were glass vials. The labels read, variola, smallpox, forgotten. sitting in an unlocked storage room for decades. The samples were transferred to the CDC. They were tested. Some were viable, meaning alive, meaning capable of infection. If someone had broken that vial, if a cleaner had knocked over that cardboard box, the consequences are almost impossible to calculate. Because here is the terrifying part. Most people alive on Earth today have never been vaccinated against smallpox. Routine vaccination stopped in 1972 in the United States. Globally, it stopped around 1980, which means anyone born after roughly 1972 has no immunity. None. The world that eradicated smallpox built its victory on a generation of vaccination. That generation is aging, and the generation that replaced them, completely vulnerable. Every few years, the question comes back to the floor of the World Health Organization. Should the last known samples be destroyed? And every few years, the answer is the same. Not yet. Not yet, because we are still developing antivirals. Not yet, because we still need the live virus to test vaccines. Not yet, because the research isn't finished. And the scientists who argue for destruction say, the research will never be finished. There will always be one more experiment, one more reason to wait. The argument for keeping it is an argument that never ends. Meanwhile, the argument for destruction is simple and brutal. Every day those vials exist is a day something can go wrong. A lab accident, a security breach, a rogue scientist, an earthquake, a fire, a human error on a Tuesday afternoon that nobody planned for and nobody saw coming. The Birmingham accident of 1978 happened in a registered, monitored laboratory, with trained scientists, with procedures, with oversight, and a woman still died. There is no such thing as a perfectly secure laboratory. There is only the hope that today is not the day something goes wrong. We eradicated smallpox. That is one of the greatest things human beings have ever done. We mobilized across nations that hated each other. We vaccinated through wars and famines and borders that didn't want to be crossed. We tracked a virus to its last corner of the earth, to a hospital cook in Somalia on a warm October day. And we stopped it there. That is not a small thing. But we didn't finish the job. In 2 freezers, in 2 countries on opposite sides of the world, the thing we defeated is still alive, waiting. Not because we forgot to destroy it, but because we chose not to. The question that scientists, governments, and ethicists have been arguing for 40 years is the same question you are probably asking right now. Should it still be there? You know what I keep thinking about? Ali Maow Maalin, the last man to catch smallpox in the wild, spent the rest of his life vaccinating children in Somalia against polio. He said it was how he repaid the world for surviving. He died in 2013. Natural causes. Somewhere in Atlanta. Somewhere in Siberia. The virus that almost killed him is still alive. If you survived this episode, subscribe, because the next one's worse. This has been Plague Diaries.